Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the summer sun. I love the trees of forest. I'm always having fun. Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the clear blue sky. And with the grace of God, I'll camp until I die.
Okie dokie, and with that happy camper song, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you only on the graveyard. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're happy campers tonight on Grande's Graveyard. I got news for you because tonight on Grande's Graveyard, we count down the top 10 best kills of none other than the Sleepaway Camp franchise. And I don't know about y'all, but Blood and Black Lace had to take a back seat this week. It had to take a back seat to this hilariously bad Sleepaway Camp 2 Xerox poster wannabe. Yes, we got the Unhappy Campers. We got Jason's mask, Freddy's glove, Leatherface's chainsaw, the Angel of Death. I mean, what better? What better than the Angel of Death and the Sleepaway Camp movies tonight, only on Grande's Graveyard. We're rocking the Angela Goes to Camp, Ernest, Goes to Camp parody tee tonight, so very excited about that. And I'm excited to count down these kills, man. This is the first time ever for Grande's Graveyard. I don't believe I've ever done an episode where I did top 10 kills of anything. So should be fun. I did a little video tribute slideshow at the very, very beginning of this. If you didn't catch it, please do catch it on the replay. It was a lot of fun. Nice little Happy Camper song cover by the very talented AJ Bowen. My original plan was that I was going to cover it live, and honestly, my buddy that has an acoustic just was giving me he was like, oh, I don't know if it'll be in time. Give me that bullshit. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do a slideshow, and we'll let AJ Bowen sing y'all out. So thank you, AJ Bowen, the very talented AJ Bowen. Appreciate that. Awesome little cover there. Of course, we got a couple people in the house already. We got Ghostface Brett. What's up? What's up, Ghostface Brett? Hope all is well with you. We got Miss C in the house. Ciao, Grande and Graveyardian friends. Grande is a happy camper for life. Dude, we got to be happy campers for life here tonight on Grande's Graveyard. And I figured before we get into the list, I could show off some of my Sleepaway Camp collectibles because I'm going to be honest. Enough people put Friday the 13th as the greatest horror franchise ever. Enough people talk about Freddy. Enough people talk about Michael Myers, Pinhead, Leatherface, Leprechaun, Chucky, whatever the hell you want to say. But not enough people talk about Angela Baker, the Angel of Death, Pamela Springsteen in particular. Now, we do love Felissa Rose, too, one of the nicest human beings I've ever had the privilege of meeting. But to me, Pamela Springsteen as this character is my all-time favorite performance in film. It really, truly is. And going back, rewatching these movies this week was just such a palate cleanser and so refreshing for me all the time. And it's perfect to watch these in the summer. They just hit different to me. I love this trilogy here, the Sleepaway Camp movies. I've just always been such a big fan. I've got these awesome out-of-print Blu-rays from actually Scheme Factory. I know I'm not a big fan of them, but these are the out-of-print Blu-rays that this part 2 goes for. I've seen it go for over $300 in the past, but awesome to have these. I know they didn't sell well. That's at least the word on the street from one of the Scream Factory higher-ups at that time had said that these did not sell well. And I know that they're in limbo now with rights issues. I know Kino Lorber had it and said that they would never release piece of shit movies like this, which I laughed at. Of course, also part 3, which is also out of print, but doesn't go for quite as much money. I think it's I've seen it go for 75. I don't think I've ever seen it go for 100. But I know that this one's also very, very, rare and out of print as well. So love to own these both. I think the features are tremendous on both these discs if you're a Sleepaway Camp fan, a collector like me. Also, of course, can't talk about these movies here tonight without this little trading card set that I have, which is the Sleepaway Camp. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. Sleepaway Camp trading cards and stickers, which is really cool. And I could show you guys how the packs look. Basically, they come in little packs like this. And I don't know, it's really cool. You can basically, I've opened up some of them on screen before, and on the back, you'll have the little Happy Camper song, which I always thought was kind of cool. And then you can literally go through the cards and they're just like trading cards. They're little trading cards. Like, and they have like all these little fun facts on the back. Lily's turn, and then which campers are asked to what their favorite movies are. Angela says, "What is her favorite movie? A, Friday the 13th, B, The Shining, or C, E.T." If you know your Sleepaway Camp, you know the answer to that. But I just love these. I think these are just so cool, and has some of the death scenes of the movies on them. And if you're a big fan of this series, this is a really cool trading card set. I also got a couple exclusives because I did buy the whole set. I got a couple exclusives, which is this printing plate, which I don't think you're going to be able to see very well. But this is a one of one. This is the only printing plate of this that they're going to have in the entire world, and I have it. So this is pretty cool. Of Pamela Springsteen and Walter Kotell, of course, in Sleepaway Camp Part 2. And then, of course, this one's really cool. This one's coveted. And I got to thank good buddy Jack Chesbro, who traded with me. Because initially when I got my autographed cards, I got Kendall Bean, who, of course, plays Demi Moore in Sleepaway Camp Part 2. She's the one that gets strangled by the hanger. But as much as, I like that character, my favorite death scene always, which we will divulge tonight, but I guess small spoiler if you don't know what number one is, I guess, I don't know. But it is this person, and it's this person's death. It's Kim Wall's Cindy, and I have her autographed card here. So Kim Wall, aka Cindy Hammersmith, this evil, like racist fucking cheerleader girl from Part 3 that to me gets the best death in that entire movie, especially if you're watching it uncut, which is on this, of course, Sleepaway Camp 3 Blu-ray. You could watch the uncut version in like VHS quality. But oh my God, it makes the movie like 10 times better to me just to see all the kills in their gory glory, if you will. They weren't cut down by the MPAA like the original theatrical. So yeah, no, I mean, I really like this set. I don't know if this is still available from I believe this was Fright Rags that did these, and they've done them for Dawn of the Dead. They've done them for Halloween. They've done them for a lot of different movies, but I was just a huge fan, and I got it alongside this shirt. I don't know. Like, I've always just been such a big Sleepaway Camp guy. Like I always like, and I love, like, I always liked the original, and I know a lot of people herald the original as the best, and that's all well and good. That's fine. I think for me, it's just the fun charm of the sequels, how meta they were, the psychology, the performance from Pamela Springsteen, and overall, I just loved how colorful they were, and I loved the creative death scenes, which we're going to get in here just shortly. I love the death scenes in these movies. I think a lot of them are just so smart. They're not just death scenes or gratuitous just to be. They kind of fit a lot of these characters, and we'll get into that here tonight on Grande's Graveyard. So very happy to have you all in the house. Let's get to some comments, and then we'll get to some kills. When is the In a Violent Nature watch along stream? Oh my God. Well, hey, if you want to just watch somebody walk in the fucking woods, I mean, shit. Yeah, but we got Ryan Snyder in the house. I know Ryan Snyder. Now, I paid when these came out. I pre-ordered these. I got these day one when these sons of bitches came out. Ryan Snyder, I believe I was at the convention with him when he bought them, or he might have been different. I forget, but I know he spent a pretty penny on them. He spent the OOP price. So he's probably on the team of, he hopes they never get re-released because he's going to regret spending the money. But for now, he's good. For now, I don't hear any rumors of these getting re-released. So you might be chilling, my friend. Ryan, hope all is well with you, man. Scheme Factory taking 3 weeks to mail me 3 4Ks. Dude, Scheme Factory, they're a bunch of assholes. I hate their asses, man. They suck. Hey, how you doing, buddy? By the way, I'm turning 41 in 40 days. I'm up to 1998 in my memoirs. Anthony, happy almost birthday, and that is really cool. 41 in 40 days. That's quite a countdown. But dude, happy almost birthday. That's really cool. The VHS is to a lot of money. See, I don't own the VHSs. I did put them as the thumbnail, but I was like, dude, you know what? A big one, I would like to own the Part 3 VHS. I own the Part 3 DVD. Funny enough, I never owned the Red Cross edition. I know that was a big collectible for Sleepaway Camp fans, was the Best Buy exclusive Red Cross edition, which of course, the Red Cross threatened to sue, and you got to take this off the shelf. And then, of course, they recalled them, but a lot of them got out. And so if you had that to this day is one of the big holy grails of any physical media for a horror fan, is the Red Cross edition of the original Sleepaway Camp trilogy with the bonus Sleepaway Camp 4, the Survivor disc, and the little kit and the booklet. And I never had that. I never owned that. That was really before my time of owning physical media. That would have been around 2004, which your humble host would have been like 7 in 2004. So there just wasn't the time I was buying anything like that. So, I mean, it is what it is, but that was always like a really, really big set for this. And any diehard fan of this should have it. So I'm kind of ashamed I don't. In the original movie, it is a bit of a red herring. It tricks you into thinking Ricky is the killer. That's right. It does trick you into thinking Ricky's the killer. And there's so many red herrings. And the most obvious red herring ends up who it ends up being. So very cool. Hello, Slasher Fred. Get a haircut, hippie. Buddy, I ain't no hippie. Get out of here. We got the Devious Diva in the house. Hey, everyone. I love the Sleepaway Camp movies. I enjoy 2 and 3 the best. Diva, I am right here with you. I'm a fucking happy camper for life. Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 for the win, man. I paid $250 for 2 and 3. Holy moly, that's a good chunk of change. So $125 each. And most of that is the second one. Like the second one goes for way more than the third one for some reason. Like I guess because the second one's way more popular. But man, like I'll never forget this too. I went to a Sleepaway Camp. It was back to back, their trilogy, all on 35 millimeter, and Felissa Rose signed for free. So this thing was packed when the first movie started. I mean, packed to the rafters. When the first movie ended, it was like 50% lighter, like 50%, at least half the people left, if not more. I remember being like, what the fuck? And I'm standing online, during an intermission in the bathroom. And I said, why the fuck are these people leaving? And the guy next to me, he goes, oh man, the second and the third one sucked. There's no story. I remember being like, what? Like, I love the second and third one. Like, I completely didn't understand his like hatred for them, But again, he might have stayed for part 2, so it is what it is. But I don't know. I know that we're alone in that. People liking the sequels better are very, very few and far between. But I'm in that cult, man. I'm in that camp of Sleepaway Camp people. I like 2 and 3 the best. It's funny. I don't own the first one. I had the DVD. I sold it years ago. I never dipped on that Shout Factory Blu-ray. Maybe because it's Shout Factory, honestly. Like, if somebody else releases it, maybe I don't know. Hola, Grande, and everyone. Texas, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. People saying hi to one another. All right, so we're about 12 minutes in. I guess we get into the top 10 kills. Everybody, cheers. I don't know what you're drinking, but cheers to a safe, happy, healthy Friday and evening and weekend and all that good stuff. Cheers, everybody. Oh, man. Needed that good hit of agua. Keeps the voice fresh. Okay, so let's pull out the list. And coming in at number 10, and this is, of course, from my favorite. My personal favorite is part 3. I know that's very unpopular, but my personal favorite is part 3. And this is the tree trunk politics death from Bobby Stark. For Bobby Stark. Yes, this is Bobby Stark. I'm going to be the next president of the United States. Basically, what happens in the third movie, if you haven't seen the third movie, they take like the inner city kids and the rich kids and put them all into the camp, and they kind of divvy them up. So you'll have like rich kids, snotty kids. You'll have like the thugs. You'll have these kids that are wanting to run for office someday to try to do this to make it look good on a resume. And therein lies the Bobby character. My name's Bobby Stark. And he is this like, at first seems harmless. At first seems like this good guy. And, I love films that make America look great, like Rambo Part 3. Great film. Like that guy, he's just so fucking funny and over the top and like what he enjoys. And of course, Angela starts to trust him, which is pretty rare for Angela to do. And there's a scene where they have to play this trust game where they're tied up to one another and they're fishing in the water. They have to kind of work it out with each other. So she hands him the bait. He puts it on a hook. He throws the hook in the water. And of course, they start to fish together. Of course, he takes this as like, you know something? I think you're nice. And she's like, yeah, I think you're nice too. And then he goes to make a move on the Angel of Death, who, if you know Angela Baker, if you know Pamela Springsteen, she's not interested in having anything like that go on. She's very moral oral, if you will. And she's not having any of that. And he goes, your type always wants it. And you realize that this guy is some kind of a pig. He's into some fucking weird shit and tying people up and, some weird kinky shit. And of course, obviously I want to run for office. So I guess therein lies why this kill makes the list for me. It says, I hate politics. Anyone knows me knows I despise politics, anything about it. I just don't enjoy it. I think it's so negative and has no respect for anyone else's opinion. It's one of those big, if you're not with us, you're against us type of things. I don't like that. I like everyone to have their own opinion, everyone to have their own two thoughts. And of course, here's this character who, I want to be the next president. I want to run this country someday. And you see that he's a phony. On paper, he's, I love these great films and my favorite color is blood red and all of these things. And in reality, what he is this fucking creep freak that is probably a fucking, not the greatest guy in the world. And Angela realizes this and sort of kind of tricks him into being tied up. She's like, "You really want to do this?" And he's like, yeah, of course I want to do this. So she ties him up to a tree. Like she hog ties his hands behind a tree. And he thinks the idea that she's going to get down and just go off, like suck him off or, do some crazy shit to him. And basically what she does is once she ties him up, she gets in her Jeep and hooks the rope that she's tied him up with to the back of her fucking Jeep. And he's like, "Well, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And she's like, "Thank God there'll be one less idiot in politics." And she fucking floors it and drives away with this guy's arms. And I swear to you, if you watch the rated cut, unfortunately, they cut all the gore out of it. This was, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again since we're talking about these movies tonight. This was a huge victim of the MPAA. I mean, worse than Friday 7, worse than Texas Chainsaw 3. Really, really one of the biggest victims of the MPAA that there ever was to me is this movie. If you watch it rated, if you watch this HD Blu-ray cut, you just see him scream and he crumbles to the ground. That's all we see. If you watch the uncut version, we see the arms fly off and a crazy, overwhelming amount of blood just squirts out everywhere, almost like water soakers of just gore and corn syrup. And oh my God, like what a great righteous death to someone who totally fucking deserved it. This fucking phony creep who was just being too creepy for his own damn good and put on a mask until, oh, now I found a vulnerable woman, let me go. No, you're going to get your arms ripped off by the angel of death, motherfucker. No, one less idiot in politics. I love the one-liner. I love the fucking gore in the uncut version. I love that it's to someone who's justified, to someone who's trying to become a politician because fuck politics, in my opinion. So that's a big reason that the politics death gets in here at number 10. I love that kill. One of my favorite kills of the bunch. But we still got 9 to go, ladies and gents. Do we have any thoughts? I don't see any comments unless... No, I don't see any comments. So I don't know. Is anybody not familiar with this kill? I don't know. Maybe not. But this is one of those kills to me that like defines Sleepaway Camp, the sequels at least. Like I just thought that was so brilliant. And of course, the writing from Fritz Gordon, aka Michael Hitchcock, who I know for a long time was ashamed of these movies, but has just recently started to be like, never mind, like now I'm proud of them type of thing. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think he did a great job writing these for what it's worth. I know the pseudonym of Fritz Gordon, we were never supposed to find out. So it is what it is. But man, to me, if you want to see a fun kill of someone who really did deserve it, if you don't like politics like me or asshole politicians, whatever, I mean, to me, it's a great kill to start off with here on this top 10 list. We got George Golden in the house. Unfortunately, I saw the censored version. Do most people have? I believe the only way to watch it uncut is if you have this Blu-ray. And while it's cheaper than the Part 2 Blu-ray, it still does go for a chunk of change. I'm pretty sure this is in the $50 to $75 range. I have not looked in a while, but it's still out of print. It still goes for enough money. So, I mean, it is unfortunate, but that, to me, aside from the special features and some of the interviews like Kim Wall and the guy that played Rev, I mean, those were cool too. But to me, that uncut version of this is the main reason to buy this. Like, it's 100% the reason. It's a really rough work print cut. Like, basically what you'll have like all the music in the movies cut out. Like, you don't have the excellent guitar intro from Obsession. Methods of Madness. All the music's cut. So if you don't like work print versions, if you don't like movies without, music, I totally understand. But you do get the kills uncut, and you do see the movie visually as you were meant to see it. Unfortunately, you don't get to hear some music cues. But to me, it's so, so worth it. I wish someday somebody could, spruce up the work print cut, add the music back, and somehow make it look a little bit better than the rough VHS transfer that you get. But restoring the gore to me is so cool, considering Friday 7 has never got that type of release. And same with, I think Texas Chainsaw 3D has been released unrated, but a lot of the stuff that was cut out ended up on the cutting room floor. Like, I don't know if some of the stuff they shot for that is still in existence, unfortunately. Here, though, you don't have that problem. You can watch the movie uncut, just no music, and it looks like you're watching it on a potato, unfortunately. But I digress. Let's move on to our number 9 kill. And we're sticking with the same movie here. Sticking with the same movie. It is the rap scene kill of Rev from Sleepaway Camp 3. Now, this one I thought was brilliant, and only the Angel of Death, Pamela Springsteen, could pull this off. And what do I mean by that? You have the character Rev, and he doesn't say much. He's from Detroit. He enjoys rap. He enjoys this boombox that he brings with him. It's funny because there are points where he's trying to sell what he's listening to. Like, oh, this is that heat. And he puts the button, and it's like literally not music anyone will listen. It's like, it's so odd. Like, it doesn't match what you would think you're going to hear. I don't know what you think you're going to hear, but you're not thinking you're going to hear that. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought something, maybe De La Soul, maybe something, like, I don't know, anything but what you hear. You just hear some weird, like, stock music when he does play his fucking boombox. But he's this kind of lazy guy. He doesn't help Angela and Bobby clean the fish. He doesn't really want to lift a finger around. He's kind of just this lazy guy that's along for the ride. So there's one point where Angela confronts him and says, listen, we've been working tooth and nail. You got to fucking get out of this tent. You got to help us. And what he does is he pulls a gun on Angela. He's like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? Pulls a gun on her, and she kind of looks back. And I think in her brain, she's calculating, all right, how am I going to get this son of a bitch? And what she does is she throws a little tape into his tent at nighttime. She throws this little tape in. And he's like, what the fuck is this? So he ejects what he's listening to. He puts her tape in. And you get the Angela Baker rap. I am not kidding you. Pamela Springsteen gets to do her very own rap in the movie. Now, where she recorded this, where she got the tape, I have no idea. They're in the middle of fucking woods, and she has somehow had time to do this recording of this whole rap, get it on a nice fucking tape, and chuck it into poor old Rev. And the rap itself, to me, is why this is a great kill. Angels are pretty, angel can fly, and here is an angel that can make you die. You've got no style, you've got no flair. All you do is fight and swear, so say your prayers and make amends, because your life story is about to end. I mean, it's fucking great. Like, and his face, he's like, what the fuck is this bitch doing? All of a sudden, she like knocks out the stakes holding up his tent. And so he's like, the tent's all in his face. He's like, I'm going to get you. And he's trying to reach around. He puts his hand there, and she just takes a giant stake, and almost like Jesus on the cross, bangs the stakes into his hands. And you hear him fucking scream, like this blood-curdling scream. Ah! Dude, I don't know why that disturbed me to no end when I first saw it. Like, that is like, oh my God, to be put up there like fucking Jesus Cristo. That's just a brutal way to go. Like, you just kind of cringe when that shit happens. And I loved the whole setup. Like, she tried to be nice. She tried to confront her. She tried to, as she would say, handle it. And she ends up handling it. She fucking spikes this motherfucker, crushes his hands into the fucking dirt. And oh my God, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, because you're laughing at the rap, and then you realize that this guy got staked. Like, it's pretty horrific, man. To me, the beautiful, perfect fine line between horror and comedy. And I think that's another thing with these Sleepaway Camp sequels that a lot of people forget and miss. And I think go back to the original instead of these two more. I don't think the humor in these movies was fully gotten at the time. These movies, in my opinion, were very ahead of their time. I really, really believe that. This was meta before Scream was ever meta. This was a crazy moral, oral, Curly Sue type of character before Kathy Bates in Misery. And I know a lot of people are going to laugh at that. A lot of people, oh, did you hear that he compared her to Kathy Bates in Misery? I did, because not only do I think the characters very similar, neither one of them cuss, neither one of them swear, they're both moral. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this Pamela Springsteen character, is that all she ever really wanted was to be the counselor of the week. And I was saying this on my story last night. The beauty of this character is the psychology of it. You have this person who in the first movie is a shy mute and doesn't say a word. Then, of course, transitions literally from one original to the sequel. Now she's Angela Johnson. She's gone through electroshock, and she has that whole spiel, which we will get to. That's one of the kills in here. You get that whole spiel of how she's changed. and how she really just wants everyone to be good and behaved and as moral as she is. And with horny teenagers in a fucking camp setting, that's not going to happen. So to me, the whole brilliance of this character is to A, kill you in the justified way, B, smile and wink at you as she's doing the things that she's doing. But the most important thing to me with the Angela Baker death scenes is the fucking psychology. It's the whole, I just want the world to be as moral as me. And it's not going to work that way. The world doesn't work like that. But she can't see it that way. She's so crazy. And she's such a psychopath that she thinks she could change the world, turn the world for the better. And, you know, she is a psychopath. She is crazy, but I do find some kind of a charm in that. I do. I think it's actually quite nice. The idea of it, I think, is beautiful. I really do. Let's get to comments, though. Let's see. I've seen all the Sleepaway Camp movies, but I really don't get the humor, so the kills aren't memorable to me. Exactly. I think a lot of people are in that boat. They don't get the humor, especially with the sequels. Like, I totally, the first movie has some unintentional, like the pedophilish cook, which, oh, look at all that spring chicken. I think people, like when I saw it in the theater, I've seen the movie 3 times in the theater, the first Sleepaway Camp. That always gets a pop. The cop and the mustache at the end, where the cop shows at the beginning has a real mustache. He had shaved it in real life. So then when he shows up for his scenes later, they put this bad, like glued on mustache. And for some reason, they shoot a close up of the actor, just so noticeable. That always gets a big chuckle, like, the eat shit and die, Ricky. Eat shit and live, Bill. Like, a lot of people find the first one funnier, whereas I just think these two are way more funny. I think it's so clever, and a lot of people don't give them credit for that. But I don't know. I always thought they were laugh out loud funny. I watched the OG Sleepaway Camp last week, and it still holds up well. I think it holds up well too. I like the original. I am not nearly as high in the original as I am with the sequels, but I do think the original is one of the last good Friday the 13th knocks. Like, because 81 was the year of the slasher. They start shooting Sleepaway Camp. 82 doesn't get released till 83. But it still is one of those movies that captured that early 80s, whereas the sequels are like distinctly latter 80s. It's weird. It's like, even though part 1 and part 2 were 5 years apart, and they were pretty much shot back to back. So part 1 and parts 2 and 3 were 5 years apart, 83 to 88 if you're going by release dates, 82 to 87 if you're talking about filming dates. It felt like it had been 15 years. It felt like it had been at least 10 years, because the vibe of an 80s slasher in the early half as opposed to post 86 was completely different. I mean, you're talking apples and oranges. Like, the first Sleepaway Camp has its atmosphere, feel, tone, look, and these sequels have completely different. I don't think they go together, really. I think it's just completely different, but in the best of ways. For me, that's just me, though. Let's go to comments. I might have skipped one. The actor who played Mel was in the original, in the remake of the Jazz Singer. The original movie was the first movie to include sound. And what's crazy is a sad thing. The actor who played Mel, he passed away in real life before the first Sleepaway Camp got released. That was the last movie that he ever made. And he just missed being on this list. I love his arrow kill. I love that death, but it didn't quite make my top 10. Love the actor. I thought he did a great job, and it's sad to me that he didn't get to see his final performance. But at least he did get to hang out with Meg a little bit. So, I mean, who's to say? We got Cinephile Sanity TV. Hey, what's up, Graveyard Crew? What's up, Sean? Hope all is well. Sleepaway Camp 3 is so obviously cheap, and it stands out, and that's on 4 of I don't know. Yeah, I think that's another part of with the problem with the movies, the transition. If Angela was too much, I remember watching Sleepaway Camp 2. I sat there yelling at the screen, "What the fuck?" Yeah, I think a lot of people, they don't see the change of the character. They don't, like, I'm watching a different character. In the first movie, she's a quiet mute. Why in the sequels is she's this crazy, bubbly, singing about happy campers and clear blue skies and all these things? I think that's the point, though. Because you couldn't just continue with, okay, I don't talk, I get bullied. That works for one film. Doesn't work for 2. Doesn't work for 3. Sure as hell doesn't work for 4 when you get to the return to Sleepaway Camp, which, spoiler, none of those fucking movies, kills made my list. I think the whole idea of it is when a shy person breaks out of their shell, you can't get them to shut up. And that's obviously what happens in her case. She's the loudest person at the camp now. And I thought that was cool. I don't know. I liked that personally. Sleepaway Camp 3 is so obviously cheap, and it's the only one I don't really like. Dude, that's totally fine. I know that for a fact that this is, of the first three, always considered to be the weakest. That's fine. I think this is the best. I always have felt this way. I love the third one. I just love this movie. Hence why I actually have the legit video poster here, the one that costs money. This is just a Xerox of Sleepaway Camp 2 that I threw up there, but I was like, oh, why not? I don't know. To me, Sleepaway Camp 3 is awesome, but I could totally understand. A lot of people really hate the third one, so that's understandable. I think it's way better than part 4. Like, there's no question. And I'm talking about the Return to Sleepaway Camp, not the Survivor, which is not really a movie, in my opinion. That's like 11% of a new movie. That doesn't count. Hey, Sean, people saying hi. Besides the opening of Sleepaway Camp 3, which is hilarious, but the rest of the movie, uneventful and boring to me. Dude, totally understandable. That's totally fine. I think the original movie was the inspiration for the Crying Game because it deals with transgender. There's a lot of, at that time, like Fatal Games was one that did that. Unhinged was one that had an ending like that. Sleepaway Camp was obviously the most infamous that had the ending like that. Obviously, Unhinged and Fatal Games aren't movies that people talk about. But, that was a big, that they just tried that ending a lot then. So it's crazy. LOL, I don't even count Return to Sleepaway Camp. I always forget. Oh, dude. Yeah, no, totally. It's better left forgotten. It's a horrible film. It really, truly is. But let's get back to the list as we got our first kill from Sleepaway Camp Part 2 coming at the number 8 slot. And you look no further than the iconic cover here. The Freddy and Jason kills of Sleepaway Camp Part 2. Now, this was the big selling point of this movie. And I still don't know how they weren't sued. Like, this was the time where New Line, of course, always had Freddy. And Friday the 13th was still owned by Paramount at this time. This was 87, 88 when this artwork would have surfaced. They make sure to put Freddy's glove, Jason's mask, and Leatherface's chainsaw on the poster. And then some woman that's not even in the movie. Who is she? I don't know. No, the world may never know. And we'll never know whose yits these are. I don't know. I have no idea. But I would love to know personally. I really would. It's not a case where it's Demi Moore either. I think Demi Moore was done with her I Spit on Your Grave days. And if you don't know what that is, you can look up that whole thing. But basically, I don't know how they didn't get sued. And that's the big thing that makes the second one stand out is this cover art. Like, it always, as a kid, I was like, Freddy's glove, Jason's mask, who's the lady, Sleepaway Camp? Like, what? Like, automatically just invites you in. And it's still like, look at this t-shirt. You have the mask, the glove. It just goes hand in hand with this movie. And I think it's a big reason why this movie was rented when it was rented. When people went to the video stores, when you see the familiar faces, the familiar iconic props, you're going to grab for this. Well, wait a minute. What is that? And then, of course, you get the movie that you get. And what I like about it is it's not a Jason knock. It's not a Freddy knock. It's its own slasher movie with nods to the past, acknowledging we know and appreciate what has come before us. Here is the present, and we'll look and push for the future. And that's the whole meta thing of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 that I adore. And I think that's so prevalent here. And of course, the whole idea is the two characters, we're going to dress up as Freddy and Jason to scare Angela because she's this big, mean, rule-following lady. So one guy dressed up as Robert Englund's Freddy. The other guy has like the cheap imitation Jason hockey mask. And their idea is we're going to scare her. And of course, with Freddy, he loses the glove and Angela slices his throat with the Freddy glove. Now, how the hell it would be a real knife instead of the plastic prop that is pretty much any Freddy replica I've ever seen, at least Halloween costume replicas. I don't know, but you have to suspend disbelief. It's just so cool as she cuts that guy's throat and all the blood pours out of his throat. I always thought that was great. And then the whole Jason kill. Hey, man, come on. He's pretending he thinks that Angela is his buddy dressed as Freddy when she's dressed as Leatherface. And he's like, hey, come on, I'm God. He's doing with the fake machete. And she knocks the machete out of his hand with a running chainsaw, cuts his leg, and he starts screaming for the hills. He's like, ah! He's like, no! Chainsaw death. Dude, epic. To me, epic. And a couple kill here to me that gives this film its identity. Again, like I said, We see the familiar things. We're nodding to these movies, but again, we're being our own movies. I love that. I think that's one of the most iconic things about this particular movie is this post art, is this particular kill. To me, it had to be on the fucking list. It's just fantastic. I really think it's great. I really, really do. Did you watch Return to Sleepaway Camp this week? I did not, and I never will again. I think that is one of the worst slasher movies of all time. It's bottom 10 slasher movie. My favorite kill, well, Slasher Fred, you stay tuned, my friend. We got 7 more of these, and that might be one of them, my friend. So we'll talk about that when we get there. Double G, George Golden says maybe they didn't get sued because they didn't say the whole names. I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, okay, the only one you could say that you there's no argument to sue is the chainsaw. Because obviously you can't, obviously us horror fans, we synonymize the Texas Chainsaw Massacre chainsaw with that Texas Chainsaw. We just do. But if you show a chainsaw on a poster to an average blow, they're not going to fucking immediately, okay, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface. It's not that household. It's just not. So the chainsaw, okay, you can't really go, oh, here's a chainsaw on your poster, we're suing you. You could be like, dude, that's one of the weapons. Like, no, like you don't have a case there. To put the actual Freddy glove, and this is 1988, Dream Warriors had come out. Dream Master was in theaters that year. And the Jason mask, man, we're 6 Jason movies in, almost 7 by the time you get to 88. New Blood comes out in 88, and which also faced MPAA struggles, like I said before. If I'm New Line, man, or if I'm Paramount, if I'm either one of them, I'm pushing to sue. There's no doubt. I mean, these movies were made for $465K a pop. And you could if you win a lawsuit, man, you're going to kill their entire profit if they're getting one. And I know these did sell really well, probably because of the cover. If I'm New Line, if I'm Paramount, I'm pissed about that. I'm wanting some of that money. I'm wanting a chunk of that. So honestly, man, I don't know. I don't know the answer as to why they were not sued. Honestly, if I was an executive at either one of those companies, I would have started asking legal questions and taking legal action. Because, man, a big reason why these sell, you cannot lie, are for these awesome covers. There's just no doubt in my mind. That's a big reason why these sold. And I like that it's not just on the cover and not in the movie. Aside from the woman there, the glove, mask, and chainsaw, that's all a part of a death sequence. And that comes in at the number 8 slot. So really cool. Let's see. Oh, the B kill is great. We're going to get there. That's on the list. It's a spoiler, but I won't say where. Alpha's in the house. Hey, everyone. What's happening? Only on the Graveyard. Dude, we're talking all things Sleepaway Camp franchise top 10 kills. Does anyone have, other than the Beehive kill, which I know we've shared so far, anyone else have some of their favorite kills they want to share with us? Feel free. And if they make my list, obviously I'm going to go about them in depth. 2, 3, we're shot back to back. This was shot, I believe, 3 weeks, and then this was 3 weeks. So it was 6 straight weeks of filming. They wrapped on Halloween night in October of 87 was this movie. They wrapped October 31st, 1987. They wrapped shooting both movies, and then they went into the editing process. This one, of course, comes out 88. This one they waited and held until like November of 89. So it is what it is. Let's see. Sup Alpha, that Beehive kill is too hilarious. See, actually, I don't know, man. I found that horrifying. Like, maybe it is funny. Like, if it's not you, it's funny. But I'm one of those, like, I imagined myself, and that would be a horrible way to die. Like, I can't even shit in peace. Like, that's brutal. It's been forever since I've seen 2. I don't think I've seen I've ever seen part 3. Dude, you gotta see it. You gotta see Teenage Wasteland. On a teenage wasteland. We're wasted. Good point about the glove. The creators of the Piranha movie didn't get sued because Spielberg said he liked it. Oh, wow. Is that true? I didn't know that. That's very cool. But yeah, that is the number 8 kill. Let's move on into the number 7 kill. And I know it seems like this is a Sleepaway Camp 1 pro chat. So we're finally at a kill from Sleepaway Camp 1. I'm sure that people are going to be excited about that. LL Beehive is funny because it couldn't have happened to a better person. Fair enough. That's fair enough. And this is the one. Yes, curling iron up the girly parts. And the crapper kill, well, the curling iron up the girly parts, or as I said it here, curling iron to the cooch of Judy in Sleepaway Camp Part 1. Now, this is a character that's so you just hate her. She's so unlikable. I believe the actress's name is Kim Fields. She plays this girl that kind of got attractive over the summer break, and Ricky even says, "Oh man, you got to see Judy." Oh man, and Judy is one of these girls that's so full of her own shit. She likes to smell her farts and enjoy it. Like, she is just so full of herself, to the point where she even wears a shirt that says her fucking name in between her yits, and she's got no bra on. And that's just so, to me, again, distinctly early 1980s. And this Judy character, who is very jealous of Angela, the Felissa Rose Angela in the first movie, and how she's kind of seeing the other this other boy that she's interested in, and she's almost not as much interested in the boy as she is interested in taking away something from this quiet, shy, timid girl. That's the psychology there, where it's not, I don't want him, I want to take him away from her just to hurt her. So she's very vindictive, very mean, very smarmy, never taking anything too seriously. And she's very just, you really want her to get that big comeuppance death. And of course, she does get it here in Sleepaway Camp Part 1. She is making out with this one guy in a dark cabin. And one of Mel, the camp owner, he kind of walks in on it, and the kid hides under the bed, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just reading. I'm not doing anything." And he's like, "You're reading in the dark?" Like, I always thought that was funny. And he's like, "All right, whatever." He leaves, and the kid she's making out with, he's like, "All right, I gotta go. I don't want to get caught in here." And she's like, "Oh, you fucking coward, you fucking wimp," whatever. We see this awesome shot of the killer in the door. And if you look closely, especially if you've seen the movie in HD, they literally put Jonathan Tiersten, the actor that plays Ricky, in a wig. It's him in a long wig standing in the door frame. If you've seen the movie in HD, you clearly tell it's him. If you watch it in 4DP or a VHS back in the days, even the DVD, it's lit in a way where you can't tell that it's Ricky in the wig, which I thought was funny. Like, all these great technology, sometimes things look so good that they reveal things that are supposed to be hidden or supposed to be, left in the shadows, if you will. He appears at the door. I guess, yeah, it's actually Angela / Peter. It appears at the door, and it's you. What do you want? And she kind of starts talking shit. She hits her, puts the pillow over her head, and then you can just see the shadows. And I thought this was a smart way to do it. You just see the shadows, and you see her grab a hot curling iron, and you get the idea of where it went. It went right up the cooch. And instead of seeing this in all of its graphic nature, which they could have done, maybe not, they could definitely do it now. I think they'd get away with it. But even in 1980s, that's tough to get away with something like that before the MPAA was standing in and just crippling all these movies. You get the idea that she puts in the cooch, and they do this brilliant thing where they shoot her shadow. Like, you just see her arms reach up, almost like if she's, Frankenstein's monster. She reaches up and has the pillow over her head. And you're just like, oh my God, like, to a nicer lady, it couldn't happen. Like, you're just this awful, evil, vindictive bitch. And of course, put a curling iron in the cooch. I always thought that was so effective, and that character so deserved that scene. The thing about these movies too that people won't give it credit for, I love the characters in all of them. I think the characters from a slasher movie perspective are also colorful, are also interesting, are also stereotypical, but to me in a fun way. Like, I love her character. She is the girl from high school that doesn't think her poop stinks. We've all known that girl. We've all known several of those girls. And to see one of them get their comeuppance, get their just desserts, get their fucking cooch burned by a fucking curling iron, I thought that was brilliant. I thought, like, wow, what a creative way to kill off such an unlikable character. See, the more you hate the character, to me, more deserving and rightful and necessary to do an over-the-top kill. And again, they didn't go in with the gratuity factor. We don't see any burning. We don't see penetration. We don't see any blood. We see a shadow. But the message was delivered, and it lives rent-free in your mind for days after. That's horror done right, in my opinion. You showed enough. You didn't tell. You showed enough to make me feel instead of having to have me see. Big difference there. But I thought it worked. I really, really liked that scene. I think it's great to this day. I think it's really, really impactful. Let's see. OMG, that curling iron made me laugh so hard. Really, man, you guys got some sick sense of humor. Like, I don't know, man. That's a pretty like a thing about that. Jesus Christ, that's a oh my God, I can't imagine. If you ever watch the trailer to the original, it has on paper screen with the writing "Dear Mom and Dad." Oh, and that classic trailer of the original film where you have the little kid voiceover. "Dear Mom and Dad, I'm getting very scared. Welcome to Sleepaway Camp. Someone is watching you." Great. I love the trailer to the original movie. That's a great, great, great trailer. Is the original trailer to the original movie. I was trying to be YouTube friendly with comments. Hey, that's fine. Totally fine. I will never give you the ban hammer. But yeah, no, totally to the girly parts. The ending wouldn't be all that shocking today. No, you know what's funny too? And I don't want to go too, because again, that it makes this a conversation about something else here. But I've heard a lot say that these movies are offensive because of the obvious ending. I don't know, man. I don't see that at all. I really don't, but I'm not going to go there because then it's become something else. Hey, Alpha, let's see. They also went that route in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, one of the twin girls leaving the pool. Yes, that's right. We just see I thought that was cool, like the shadow kill. But especially here where it wasn't something that they were going to show in gratuity. They probably couldn't. And he just went creative with it. Like, bam, I'll show the shadow and you'll get the idea with what we were doing, what we were covering, where we were putting it, and you get the whole idea, and it really works. I liked that a lot. Good brother Tom is in the house, the Undead of Night. Hi, John in chat. Only saw the first Sleepaway Camp. Didn't know 2 and 3 were supposed to be funny. I'll give 2 a try and see if I'll continue with 3. Man, I love 2 and 3. I like them better than the first movie. And I think the psychology, like I was saying before, is just off the charts. It's really, really great stuff. So highly recommend you give them a look. And if you do, please let me know. Ciao, Grande, late today. Sleepaway Camp Saga kicks ass. Hi to the whole graveyard. Mateo, always happy to have you in the house, buddy. That trailer guy voice. Dude, right? It's so good. Welcome to Sleepaway Camp. You won't be coming home. Love that one. So let's move on, though, to the number 6 kill of the franchise here, where we jump back to Sleepaway Camp Part 2, and we have a simple but a beauty, the decapitation kill of one Sean Whitmore. And this is, to me, the scene in the first movie that really drives home her character, where you get the whole spiel, the whole reveal. We know the whole time who the killer is, but it's so cool to see what's been going on from the first movie to this movie. And this is the scene that you get that entire spiel and that kind of face-off between, the lead, Pamela Springsteen, and the Sean Whitmore character that Renee Estevez is so head over heels for. And they find the bodies. All these bodies are dead in this cabin, covered in all these leeches and just horrible, grotesque special effects as they're in this cabin. And Angela ties them both up and starts to kind of go on her spiel. Yeah, I wish they could find a way to make French fries nutritious. I'm a nut when it comes to French fries. It's like, you're a nut, period. Like, you're not just a nut when it comes to liking French fries. I love that. I thought that was great. And the whole, to me, setup here was brilliant. You're Angela Baker, the angel of death. I should have called you Peter. Angela Johnson now. And you killed all those kids at Camp Arawak. I love how he's like getting up in her face, like, you motherfucker, how'd you get the job? And she goes on the whole spiel, like, it's easy. I had great recommendations from doctors, psychiatrists, even clergymen. I did my time. I did 2 years of therapy, electroshock, was on every pill you ever heard of, plus an operation. I'm completely cured. And I love that whole, she's convinced that she's cured and she's moral and she's helping the world to make it a better place. We are the world. We are Angela Baker. We're making the world a better place at Camp Rolling Hills because it's the best and we're all happy campers loving the summer sun and having fun. And I just love the whole idea. And she kind of tells the story and it's very tragic. You hear this and you're like, okay, this woman, she's been, drugged up. She's been electroshocked. Her entire life has changed. And now she's back trying to be counselor of the week and she gets fired. Uncle John, who of course is supposed to be John Hughes, he fires her. I want you out of here before lunch. and her sadness of like, oh my God, I lost this job. This job was my life. The whole idea of her going to the stage, that being the biggest moment, here's my pinnacle. I'm counselor of the week. And just the look of happiness on her face as opposed to the look of distraught defeat and sadness here as we get this whole kind of third act kickoff. And this character getting up in her face and, my dad's one of the cops that arrested you and you should have heard him when you got out. And she kind of looks at him. She goes, wait till he hears what happens to you. Very cold. And he's just like, what's going on? He's bracing himself because she goes behind him. And she takes this big machete and just boom, cuts his head off in one free swing right in front of Renee Estevez, who screams and starts crying and is trying to get out. And then to add insult to injury, what makes Angela Baker, Pamela Springsteen the greatest to me is she's trying to, hey, eat. I know you liked him, but he was always back talking to me. And she goes, well, if you really like him so much, look who's on TV. And she puts his decapitated head inside the television. And she's like, ah, like what a middle finger to your final girl. Be like, oh, the boy you've been liking and kissing and, he's going to possibly pop your cherry. Yeah, look, he's on TV now. I cut his fucking head off. Just great. Just absolutely tremendous kill to me. The whole backstory, the whole coming full circle, a great way, in my opinion, to kick off a third act of a film and to, again, the middle finger to the lead, like, fuck you. I took his head off and now he's on TV. There's plenty of fish in the sea. You're going to have to find somebody else. That is just so cold. Like, I love the whole, like, I can't wait to hear what your dad hears when he finds out that I cut your head off. Like, oh, what an evil lady. Like, oh, I love it. So good, man. To me, that psychology's off the charts. We got Sid Dag in the house. What's going on, Sid? Hope all is well with you, brother. Nobody chiming in on this particular kill, so I don't know. Maybe it's an unpopular one. Granted, these sequels are just unpopular. I think that's the thing. Like, the sequels are just unpopular movies, unfortunately. But this is one of my faves. So we'll move on. We'll move on into the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we're top 5 time. This is, again, from this gem, Sleepaway Camp Part 3. This is the lawnmower kill, yes, of Lily. Of course, the lead camp counselors in Sleepaway Camp 3 are Lily and Herman, a big homage to the Munsters. And, of course, if you notice, every single other person is named from the Brady Bunch. So you'll have Jan, you have Bobby, you have fucking Marcia, every single member of the Brady Bunch is mentioned in Sleepaway Camp 3. And then, of course, in this movie, it was all the Brat Pack. You have Emilio, Judd, you have a character named Demi Moore, you have, Anthony for Anthony Michael Hall, Molly is the Renee Estevez character, of course, to Molly Ringwald and stuff like that. Allie, nod to Ali Sheedy. Just great. I love that the writing there. I thought that was so clever to kind of nod the decade that you were in, like all the shit that was popular in pop culture. Just take those names. Like, I thought that was really smart. But here we have this lady who's this lazy fuck. She doesn't get up. She doesn't move. She doesn't do anything. And Angela says to her, hey, I want to play the trust game with you. Like, let's play the trust game. So she talks this woman into putting a blindfold on and playing this trust game where she's leading her around in the woods. So she's doing it, leading around the woods, and she's kind of talking to her. And she's like, something about this place. It's like no one wants to go to a place where everyone's been slaughtered. Like the way she's, feeling her way out. And then Angela, what she does is basically she's like, okay, hold on, and pushes this lady into like a ditch. And the woman's, help, you pushed me down. This is the trust game. She buries her up into her neck in dirt. And then removes the blindfold and is like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, please don't do this. Please, like, don't leave me here. You can't leave me here. And once again, Angela kind of flipping off the kill before she commits it. She says to her, your husband fools around. And she kind of walks away. And the woman in the hole, she's like, wait, we'll take you on vacation with us. Anything. Don't kill me. Angela comes around the corner with a lawnmower. And she's vroom, vroom. She revs this motherfucker up. The lawnmower's going, and she's walking toward this woman whose head is the only thing above ground. And somewhere made to like a motel hell. She's has the blindfold on her forehead. And she's screaming, "Help! Help!" And Angela's walking along with the lawnmower, and then bam! You get the lawnmower to the head. And again, I'll sound like broke a record. In the rated version, if you're watching this in HD or any better quality than that, you're not going to see the gore. Unfortunately, this is a big scene that they cut and crippled. In the unrated cut, you get a lot of gore. You get stuff actually flying out of the chute, and then you get this cut to a beautiful sunset. I thought that was a really good job by the director, Michael Eisner. I thought that was so smart. Like this brutal, gory kill of somebody getting a lawnmower placed on the top of their head and cutting them up, and then boom, beautiful shot of the sunset. Like let's it's nighttime now. Let's envision this. I love that. I thought that was really cool, and I thought the whole this lazy, annoying character that was just there to benefit and line her own pockets. She gets her head run over by a lawnmower. Again, very deserving, like just this awful lady. And I thought that was great. I don't know. I really liked that one personally. Let's see what the comments say. I guess I need to rewatch 2 and 3. I only remember 1. Most people are in that camp, man. Most people are. I adore the sequels better than the first one, but that's just me. I'm very small minority there. Should finally be done fixing the audio. Awesome. I love part 2. Chris Dickey checks in. What's up, Chris Dickey? I love part 2 as well, man. I'm a happy camper for life. I don't know about you, but I am. Wow. I didn't catch that Brady names. That was clever of them. Dude, yeah, it's crazy. Like every single character, like if you watch, it's actually quite smart how they do that. And then of course Lily and Herman of the Munsters. I thought that was kind of clever too. I don't know. Best lawnmower scene is in Frankenhooker. Yeah, see, that's a movie that came out the following year, yet was able to be way more graphic. Same with Dead Alive. Lawnmower scene, way more graphic. And unless you're watching this uncut version, you're not going to see it in all of its gory glory. So I highly recommend, if you have this, to watch the uncut version, because that's the only way to watch it and see what they really were going for there. Laziness kills. Yeah, it does. And I like the whole, again, the jab. Your husband cheats on you. Like, what an awful thing to say to someone before you run them over with a fucking lawnmower. Like, by the way, your husband doesn't love you. I'm going to run your head over with a lawnmower. Like, that's horrible, man. Like, how evil can you be? Like, oh my God, it's so evil, but enjoyably so. I love that one. So that's the lawnmower kill of Sleepaway Camp 3. Love it. That's number 5. Coming in at number 4, for these next 2, we jump back to the original film. And which seems to be, this live chat is pro Sleepaway Camp 1. I'm in the minority, goddamn it. I will fight for Pam all day. Coming in number 4, though, it's the shower kill in the first Sleepaway Camp. To me, the most underrated kill of this entire franchise comes in at number 4 for me, and it's of the character Meg. And if you don't know how to spell it, it's M-E-G. And that's, of course, the classic line from Catherine Cammey, who plays this character Meg. Of course, she was also in movies like Silent Madness the year prior to this like 3D kind of Halloween knock, similar to a Halloween type of movie where it's like an escaped mental patient, whatever, and it was presented in 3D. She's in that movie as well, but she's here as Meg, M-E-G. She's like the head counselor. She's basically having an affair with a man that's like 40 years older than her, which is very creepy. This series has a lot of that. Like in part 3, we see Michael Pollard, who is fucking nominated for an Oscar at one point. Michael Pollard is like sucking on some young lady's yet. Like that happens in this too. Like weird. Like that seems to be a fucking theme of all these movies, to have like older men go with like really hot younger women. And Catherine Cammey at this time was beautiful lady. And of course she plays very much against what she looks like in this role. The Meg character is very mean, very cynical, very, she gets bothered and angered by Angela and her quietness in the original film. And she's very just up in arms about it. Like, don't you ever talk? Can't you say anything? And she gets so upset. And there's one point where it all kind of boils to a head, where Angela's sitting and all the other girls are in the water. And she walks up to her and she goes, why don't you wear a bathing suit? Why don't you shower with the rest of us? Which we all know the answer to that now. We all know the answer to that fucking question now. But in all seriousness, she says, well, you're not coming in the water? What are you doing? And basically, Angela just stares her down, doesn't blink, doesn't say anything, doesn't move. And Meg just freaks out, and she has to be restrained by one of the other counselors. And she's just had it up to here with the quietness and the unresponsiveness from Felissa Rose. And of course, she's going to pay the price for that. So later on, she's set up to have a date with the camp owner, Mel. It's going to be a behind the closed doors date, I guess. Why she's trying to bang this guy with a 7-year-old fucking cock, I will never know, especially when you look like Catherine Cammey, but I guess writing is writing. And they do this very smart setup where she's trying to shower, but there's a line out the door. She's like, would anybody mind letting me cut? I have a date tonight. And they all look at her like, no, you're not cutting the line. So she goes to like a cabin that's deserted. She walks out, and all the other girls see her walk out. She goes to this like icky cabin that's deserted, and she starts her shower. And I thought this was really smart way to isolate somebody because, again, we have all these people going into the shower here. There's a big line. All right, I can't wait. I'm in a rush. I want to get to my date. I want to hang out with the 70-year-old fucking guy. You know, I want to have some dinner. I want to put his dentures in a fucking cup with some Alka-Seltzer. She's in this abandoned cabin by herself, and she's putting the soap on, and she's kind of getting ready for her shower. We do not see Yitz, unfortunately. But I thought this was so well done from a kill standpoint because, again, there's nothing where we see the killer's POV of coming in the room. It doesn't butter you up. It just shoots. And I thought that was the smartest part about it. Like, there's really no forewarning. There's no shadow. There's no lurking. There's no stalking. It just, boom, it happens. And I thought that was so clever. I was like, that was brilliant how they did that. And instead of a, Psycho repeated slash and a nod to a movie that had come out 20 plus years prior, they do one of these. It's a stab in the back and straight down. And man, again, you don't see the penetration. We do see the killer clean the knife off, but you feel that kill. Like, to me, like, oof, that is, to me, way more horrifying than Psycho. And I know people probably be like, all right, click, turn this fucking idiot off. That's fine. To me, you feel that so much more. Just a straight clean went right down her spine, and she can't move. She doesn't struggle. I get the idea that maybe one of her, spinal cord has been snapped, and she just goes down like a blank. And we see the aftermath through Mel's eyes, who loved this girl. Now, it was a weird thing, don't get me wrong, but he did love this girl. And when he finds her dead, it is one of the most horrific shots of a body of all time. It's just that clean, straight red line and her lifeless young body lying there in the shower. I thought that was great. I really did. To me, it's arguably the best kill of the first movie. I think if you're talking seriousness, that's my favorite kill of the first movie. It's just so fucking impactful, and you feel it, again, as opposing to have to see it. I thought that worked. I really did. I thought for this character, it was brilliant, because here we, again, have somebody who's evil, who's mean, she's running the show. She's mad at Angela over nothing. She's mad at Angela for being quiet and respectful and not saying a word. She's angry that she's not, amongst some of the other lousy, outgoing, loud kids. And to get stabbed in the back after being smiley cheeked and I'm ready for my date, I'm going to look beautiful, all of these things, to boom, take that away from her in one clean red swipe, wash the evidence and kind of just walk away. Just so cold. I think it's one of the more cold deaths in this entire franchise to me. And it's the one that nobody ever talks about, this death scene. I just think it's really, really professionally done. I love this one. This is a really good one. So the Sleepaway Camp 1 shower kill of MEG Meg comes in at number 4. Really like that one. Let's see. I think Dead Alive, dude. Dead Alive's awesome, man. Really great movie. Love Frankenhooker. Bought the Blu-ray last year. Pretty much a sucker for Frankenstein or Frankenstein-ish movies. Well, can't go wrong with Frank Henenlotter. We just did the Basket episode a few weeks ago. I will admit I do like 2 and 3 because I sort of had a crush on Pamela Springsteen at the time. They were good movies. And you know what's funny? I will say this. I never found her pretty, but again, like last week we were saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I always felt, and it's so weird and sad because she died today, so rest in peace. I always felt she looked like Shelley Duvall. I really do think she looks like Shelley Duvall. For some reason, she looks like a unique version of her. Just have a similar look to those two people to me. I don't know why, but I always thought they looked similar. But yeah, no, you're not the first person that said that. Like, if somebody commented on one of my posts saying they had a huge crush on her. So yeah, no, hey man, you're not alone. You're really not. I love her as the character. I think her performance is great. And that's saying a lot because, again, I don't find the woman that attractive, but her performance says everything. Like, you don't have to be beautiful, lady, in order to garner my attention. If your performance and acting is this encapturing, I really, really like her in this role. They would have gotten a nice surprise if she did shower with them. Yeah, then we got a nice green giant surprise, brother. That creepy cook in the first one getting boiled up in that rinky-dink setup with an insanely tall skinny pot. See, that is, and I know a lot of people are going to be upset, that didn't make it. And there's a big reason why. the cook didn't die. He gets a fate almost worse than death, where he feels all the pain and didn't die. So I think that was their big, what they were going for. Like, oh, the idea is, oh my God, this guy has to live the rest of his life with all of his nerves are frying. Like, that's even more horrifying than death. And again, that guy deserved it. He was a fucking pedophile. So, I mean, yeah, totally. But he doesn't make the list because he technically did not die. Not a death scene. I find the shower kill very well shot, almost artistic. Reminds me of Bay of Blood too much. I mean, I don't think too much. I mean, I love, dude, Bay of Blood is one of my faves. I love that movie, and I know you love that movie too. But I dare to say, I think it's done really well here, especially for an American film. Like, because of course, with America, when you do a shower death scene of any kind, the first movie that's going to be Psycho. Okay. Yeah. And listen, Psycho, it's, some people will swear by that movie and swear by that particular kill till the end of time, and understandably so. That movie's 64 years ago, and we're still talking about it here live on Grande's Graveyard in July. So, I mean, it's done something right if we're still fucking talking about it and that particular scene. But in my opinion, I agree with you. I do think that's really well shot. I like that one, man. I don't know. I really, really, really liked that one. Sorry to be pedantic, but that kill would have taken more strength than she would have had at that age. Well shot, though. Well, fair enough. And dude, you're not being pedantic at all. It's totally understandable, man. But all right, let's move. Top three. We got one from each of the movies. So this kind of just worked out this way. And it's funny. I would rank the movies the way I have these top three ranked, from like worst to obviously Return to Sleepaway Camp's at the bottom. But if it's the trilogy, I would actually go in reverse order. I'd go 3, 2, 1 as my 3 is my favorite, 2 is my second favorite, 1 is my of the trilogy the weakest to me. But again, I like all three movies a lot. But coming in at the number 3 slot, this is one that you guys have been mentioning a lot in the comments. We're here. The Beehive kill in Sleepaway Camp, number 1. That's one I could really breeze past. It's really just the idea of it that really creeps me out, where this kid, after they're playing a water balloon fight on the roof, who the hell does that? Who has a water balloon fight on a roof? Like, what the fuck? I guess it's the 80s. And they also do the softball game with all the short t-shirts and short shorts and long socks. And I guess it was a style then. It was in at some point. They have this kid who, I'm going to go take a shit. He goes to the bathroom. And Angela does this thing where she puts the broom in between the stalls so he can't get out, and then takes a live beehive with a stick and just throws it in the window behind him. There's like a window in the stall behind him. Just kind of tosses it in, and you hear this guy getting stung to death. Oh, help! Like, again, that is so cruel, to kill someone while they're taking a shit. And he gets stung so many times he dies. Like, he passes out and dies. Like, that is so evil. And oh my God, it's so morbid. Like, what a creative death scene that is. And again, we don't see much until the aftermath, where they did real life bees, which I thought was really effective. Again, CGI bugs almost never work to me. Doing the real bees over the fake corpse, I thought really worked. Like, they're all crawling all over them. It's just that sound, the sound that bees make always scared the shit out of me. And you see the eye, and you see all the stings, and there's this lifeless body on the ground. I thought that was great. The idea of it, the vulnerability of it. Like, you think you're vulnerable in the shower? We'll one up you. We'll get you on the shitter. I thought that was really smart. And I thought the bees, like, you could have easily, she could have just stabbed him in there, or like set him on fire in there, which would have worked fine too. But the whole, I'm throwing water balloons at you from a roof to throw bees in there. Like, you think you're stinging me? I'm stinging you. I like that. I liked that a lot. So that's one we can really gloss over. It's talked about so much type of thing. Mernsy says, "What's up, Graveyard fam? Was at the movies. Thought I'd drop in for some Sleepaway Camp fun." Mernsy, my man, you're always more than welcome here. We're on the last 3. So hope you had an awesome time at the movies, though. As I said to you before, the cook and the landlord of Alice, Sweet Alice, should meet. Douchebag galore. Yeah, right here. And I had to, Mateo, forgive me, I had to cover up freaking Blood and Black Lace to put up the Sleepaway Camp 2 just for tonight. This is like a shitty Xerox that I made. But it is what it is. I had to throw it up for it. Psycho's so overrated, almost as much as Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby. Wow, Chris Dickey throwing out 3 all-time classics, saying they're all overrated. Well, I appreciate the outlandish opinions and controversial stuff here. So keep them coming, brother. I love it. Imagine taking a shit and somebody just does that. Dude, you're done. There's no way out. The only way out is if he gets out the window, but he's probably getting stung to death regardless. Like, I don't know how many stings it technically would take to kill you, but I don't think you're getting out of that. Like, I really think you're just doomed in that situation. And you're literally like, the shit, and this will sound weird, but the shit is attracting the fucking bees. Like, the bees are only going to go more crazy about that. I don't know. I loved that. Hey, Mernsey, what's going on, Mernsey? George Golden, yeah, this is a good combo about 80s horror / slasher flicks. Thank you so much, George. I'm assuming you're new to the I don't remember your name in the past, so thank you so much for checking out the show tonight. And we've been doing these for a long time, so, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Always happy to have new people in the graveyard. I ran into a nest of wasps once with my car while climbing a riverbank, and I was stung so many damn times. Luckily, not lethal for me, but other folks possibly. See, that's scary. I would be scared as shitless. I know my mother's allergic, so a couple can kill her, which is scary. Like, I would be so much more scared if I was allergic. Like, just the idea of, man, a few of these could just kill my ass. I'm assuming hundreds will do it to anybody. I would think so, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not we have to go to the Animal Kingdom channel or whatever the fuck to figure out that answer, man. Or not car. I was in a raft. Oh shit! This lovely bonbon titled "The Raft." Yes. So okay. Well, we're glad you got out of that one in one piece, buddy. But let's move on into my top 2 favorite kills of the series. And to me, I really love 3 through 10. These next 2 are the best 2, like by a mile. Like there's some space between 3 and then or 2 and then the rest of these. To me, 2 and 1 are by far my favorite. And of course, it is from this movie, and it is the alley death scene. Of course, the outhouse death of shit, piss, and leeches of Sleepaway Camp 2. For a long time, this was my favorite kill in any movie because I just thought it was so like brilliantly done, and I loved the way that they built the character. They gave that character time, and I'll explain. So basically, the Allie character in Sleepaway Camp 2, she is this really, really pretty lady. I mean, really, Valerie Hartman plays the character Allie. I forget the last name, but Allie, and she's gorgeous. She shows her yet throughout the entire movie. I know she was also the assistant director on Sleepaway Camp Part 3, so she stuck around. Sounds like the coolest lady. I would kill to see an interview with her now. Like, I've heard she's such a cool person, but I've never seen her do an interview, so that's something I would love to see someday. But of course, as opposed to her real life person, she plays the evil kind of bitchy girl from high school, doesn't think her poop stinks type of character in this too, where she's beautiful. She really wants Sean Whitmore, but of course, Sean Whitmore is more interested in the Renee Estevez characters, this more reserved, shy, timid girl, very similar to the Felissa Rose in the first movie, although she has a little bit more personality. She's so jealous and like conniving and really wants to like get under the skin of Renee Estevez to the point where she makes her cry. She does everything she can to try to make her jealous and to make Sean Whitmore want her. Like, she fucks Sean Whitmore's best friend, this soccer player. And it's this great line afterwards, after she has sex with him. She goes, "You don't have AIDS or anything, do you?" It's like, who the hell asked that after the fact? Like, he just fucking quick draw McGraw you, bro. Weird. She does everything. She has this one point where she confronts Renee Estevez's character and says, "Oh, he hasn't screwed you yet, right?" And Renee Estevez kind of looks down. She's like, "It's none of your business." She goes, "I didn't think he had. He's a horrible lay. I just thought I'd let you know that because you guys are going to be perfect together." And she goes, "Don't act like you like me because I hate you. And I know you hate me too, but I hate you more." Like, she just gives this whole like mean out of nowhere for no reason. Like, Molly is like, "Hey, you want to have a catch of the football with me?" And she's just like, "You, fuck you and everything about you, you fucking hoe." It's like, whoa, like, this came out of nowhere. Like, that is, God damn it, this lady. And of course, Renee Estevez is crying, and Pamela sees her crying. Why are you crying? Well, don't say anything, but Allie said that I would be a lousy lay, and I'm this, that, and the other. And she's crying, and Angela concocts the perfect idea to kill her. She puts this fake note and says it's from Sean, like, on her mirror. And she comes and grabs it and it says, meet me up by that old abandoned cabin in a half hour. And she's looking in the mirror and she's like, "Sean Whitmore, I knew you'd come around." She starts making herself up, trying to doll herself up to look pretty. She goes all the way up there, knocks on the cabin door, no one's there. She turns around, she goes, "God damn it." And then Angela pops up and says, "God damn, Angela." And she's like, you're fucked up. And she goes, what do you mean? She goes, well, you're more fucked up than I thought. And she tries to go like storm off to be like, this is a fucked up prank. As she goes to storm off, Angela, bam, similar to the Meg kill, stabs her in the back a few times, actually gets and it's a great close-up. They did a really good job with the special makeup effects here, where you get this kind of practical blood just kind of pouring out, darker blood. It looks real. I thought the blood looked really good in that scene. And she kind of like crumbles to her knees and she's all fucked up. And Angela grabs her by the hair and says, come here, come here. And she kind of drags her over to this outhouse. And she makes her, she's like, get in the toilet, look down the toilet. And Allie is like this, like, please don't hurt me. Like, don't hurt me anymore. Like, you crazy bitch. And she's like, look, what's down there? And she's like, answer me. And fucking Allie goes, shit, it's shit. That's right. It's one of your favorite words. Do you mind if I borrow it for a moment? You've been a shitty friend and a shitty camper. And what else is down there? Piss. You pissed away your good looks and God-given talent your whole life and turned it into nothing but a cynical, dirty-mouthed waste of flesh. And what else is down there? I don't know. Well, I guess you're going to have to climb in and find out. And as she says that, she puts her head over heels into this fucking outhouse of piss, shit, and leeches to top it all off, the cherry on top of the proverbial shit sundae. And she says the whole thing, leeches, Allie, for a leech like you. You should have been the first to go. And she takes basically this stick and keeps pushing her down there, almost as if she was trying to unclog the shitter. But instead of being a plunger, it's just this stick, and she's trying to hold her down underneath the shit, piss, and leeches. The idea of that is one of the most effective scenes to me ever. You got stabbed in the back. You're put head over heels into the water. That shit's getting infected. You're drowning, not in water. It would be horrifying enough. Oh, we just froze. Are we back? I don't know. Why did we just freeze? Are we okay, Graveyard? I don't know. What if it's a freeze here, man? I don't know if we're good. Are we good? If you could see me, throw me the thumbs up, brother. Because I don't know what happened. We just froze out of nowhere. This is pretty rare on Grande's Graveyard nowadays. Let me go to the tube here. Talk about a good way to lose your audience. Are we good now, y'all? Because I'm frozen here. I don't know. Looks good? Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm going to just keep going then. I'm so sorry. I am frozen on my end. So I don't even know, like, how many fingers am I holding? I can't see how many fingers I'm holding up. I'm sorry. To continue with what I was saying. And I don't know where it fucking froze me or if it froze me at all, because now I see everyone saying it's good. Okay, so thank you. To continue where I was. She is drowning her. So you're getting this is getting infected. And it would be scary enough to drown in water. I think the idea of drowning is possibly the most horrifying death. That's a horrifying way to go. To drown in water is one thing. To drown in piss and shit, that's even more horrifying. The smell, I couldn't even imagine. And to top it all off, there's leeches down there sucking your blood out. So you're getting drained of your blood. You're having your cut infected. You're being drowned in piss and shit. I mean, that to me can't get any more horrific. And it was perfect. I repeat, perfect way for this character to go. This evil, conniving, fucking dirty, like this absolute brutal trash bagging hoe that I have ever seen. Where's Chris Jericho? The Jerichoholics of 1999. Love that shit. But like, it was so crazy to me when that scene happened. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I love that she throws you should have been the first to go. But I think that it was very smart to kill her later in the movie, because again, this is something that a lot of slasher movies don't take the time to do. You built her up as this bitch that you did not like. She's hoary. She's flashing her yits to everybody that will look. She's doing everything to try to distract this lead guy who's not interested in her. He's interested in the quiet girl. She's just a really nasty person. And what better way for a nasty person dirty person to die in the nastiest, dirtiest way that you can think of. And I thought that was absolutely, for the longest time, was my favorite kill of this movie. It's my favorite kill of this movie and of the franchise, but it comes in at number 2 in the franchise. So that's just me, though. I love that death scene. I think that's great. I loved the Val Hartman performance. I thought she did a really, really good job. I don't know, man. I really like that one. That particular death scene, I think, is just great. That's one of my faves. Let's go up and see. I don't want to like freeze the whole stream, but I'm going to try to load the comments. Let's go here. A few unexpected health hassles, but nothing that will kill me yet. My favorite kill. Oh, it's such a great one. It's such a great one. You good? You good? Okay, thank you everybody that said I was good. I appreciate that. I was so frozen on my side. So the dope show, welcome, man. I had small leeches all over my ankles walking through wet rainforest in Madagascar. Lots of blood, but no pain, of course. The crazy tropics. Whoa, I mean, you have had an adventurous Madagascar, man. Holy crap. Valerie Hartman, you just made a list. Write her up, Chris Jericho style, man. Like I always remember that he did the whole Stephanie McMahon is a brutal trash bagging hoe that I have ever. I love the old school Chris Jericho, man. He was great. And funny enough, mentioning Y2J, coincidentally, this is his favorite all-time slasher movie, is Sleepaway Camp Part 2. And that was not, like, I did not set that up. I just kind of stumbled upon it. But yeah, that's the truth. This is Chris Jericho's favorite all-time slasher movie. And I know that he's interviewed the writer. He's had the actresses on. He's such a big fan. He's been trying to get Pam for years. She won't do it. The craziest, one of the coolest ones, before we get to the number one pick here, is a little bit of a brief anecdote on this. I personally love the soundtrack to all three of these movies, but these two in particular. At the beginning of this one, you get the song Straight Between the Eyes from Anvil. And I love Anvil, and I love the song Straight Between the Eyes. It's a great, like, Kickstarter to the movie. What people may not know is Anvil never, like, signed on to have their song be a part of this movie. It wasn't until like 20 years later where Chris Jericho confronted them. I believe it was like 2005, 2006. He confronted them because Chris Jericho has his own band, Fozzy. He went up to them and was like, hey, guys, Anvil, I'm such a big fan. He was going on. He said, oh, we're a fan of you too. He goes, I loved you guys from the first time I heard you in Sleepaway Camp 2. And apparently the lead singer of Anvil was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, your song is at the beginning of Sleepaway Camp 2. It's like one of the best songs in the movie. Like, trying to talk to the guy about it. And he goes, what do you mean our song Straight Between the Eyes was in a movie? And he's like, yeah. And so fucking whoever produced this, whoever edited this, who put the music in, did not get the consent of Anvil to fucking have that song in the movie. They just went ahead and did it. And I guess never found out because the movie was so small. It never got back to Anvil 20 years later until Chris Jericho of all people was like, hey, they used your song. I love it. And they were like, what? And they were like, whatever, we'll let it slide for now. So Anvil was cool about it and didn't press any charges, but I just think that was so crazy. But like, could you imagine? And I remember when I did my short, I wanted the Rafi version of Down by the Bay at the end. And instead we had to do it ourselves because I offered whatever distribution company, I forget what it was called. I offered them like $500 and I said, you could do a counter offer, anything to use the song. And they didn't even do a counter offer. They just said, no, we're not interested in your money. You can't use our song. And I said, okay, fuck it. And we sat down. I sat down with the music guy and we were like, fuck it, we'll sing it ourselves. Like that was really how that went. But you could do this. Fuck you, I'll use it anyway, and you won't even find out about it until fucking Y2J tells you. I thought that was fucking funny. Like I was like, wow, like what a crazy world, man. It's a good one. Still got to see 3. Oh, that's right. We were on Merdsy and I were on a what the hell is it called? Discord call. We were on a Discord call. We're watching the third one together, and he was zooted. He was fucking zooted, and he's like, wait a minute, where's Felissa Rose? I'm like, this is Sleepaway Camp 3. And he was gone. Like, Mercy was at Happy Land, dude. It was pretty funny. Didn't know that about Y2J. I know he had a brief cameo in Terrifier 2. And I'm assuming he's going to get a brutal death scene in Terrifier 3. So, anybody that's excited about that. That's wild. They never knew. Chris Jericho is the one that told them. It's just so funny that it took a famous pro wrestler to tell, oh, yeah, did you know that? And they were like, what? Like, so wild. I always thought that was really cool, a cool behind the scenes story. If you love especially the second one, because I know Jericho has been very, very critical of this movie, which fuck him for that. I like the third one. I don't give a shit. If you like this movie, Jericho's covered it a lot. Like he's done live commentaries. Like it's his favorite horror movie, so it's pretty cool. Fozzy has some good songs. Yeah, I don't mind. I like Fozzy too. Always like Chris. It's sad. Chris is one of those guys I wish he'd just hang it up though. It's like you have nothing else to do, you know. Like Jericho should really hang it up. Jinja Ninja's in the house. Jinja, welcome, man. You're just in time for number one. And of course, the entire show's been leading up to this. And what is my favorite kill of the bunch? And of course, it comes from my favorite sleepaway camp of the bunch. In this movie, Sleepaway Camp Part 3. And funny enough, and now if you weren't here at the beginning, it seems like we have way more people in the house now. I could show this bad boy off again. You have this little autograph from Cindy Hammersmith, aka Kim Wall, who plays the character of Cindy Hammersmith. This is my favorite death scene in the series, and cool enough, it didn't come with my particular pack, like I was saying at the beginning when I showed these Sleepaway Camp trading cards that I have, which is pretty cool. Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 from Fright Rags. They came with like one guaranteed auto, and I got Kendall Bean, who played Demi Moore in the second one. And then what basically happened was this really nice guy, Jack Chesbro, reached out to me and said, man, I have Kim Wall if you want it. I heard you say that you would trade Kendall for Kim Wall. And I said, dude, in a heartbeat, I would. So we did this exchange. We didn't live too far from each other. It's a small world. And like a couple days later, I had the autograph that I wanted. He had the one that he wanted. So a really cool, fair exchange. Jack Chesbro, if you're catching this, man, thank you so much. Because this is an autograph from my favorite kill of the entire saga, which is really cool to own. And of course, I'll set it up for you guys. Of course, Cindy Hammersmith is this. She's definitely secondary. Like, she's not as big as a character as the Allie character. She's not as big as Meg, as big as Judy, as big as some of these other characters when it comes to screen time and dialogue. But I think she's the most, like, bitchy of all of them. Like, the absolute worst person of all of them is Kim Wall, as Cindy Hammersmith. And she does a great job in the role. She seems, again, another one that just seems like a total sweetheart in interviews. But her character in this movie, you hate her. They introduce you. She's very silver spoon in her mouth. Daddy is paid for everything. She likes country music. She hates rap. She's racist. She's a bigot. She's, holier than now. Thinks her this series loved to do the bitchy girl from high school. Didn't think her poop stink. I mean, they loved doing that. She is a good looking woman, Kim Wall. We do not see her yet. So if you're curious about that, you don't see that in either cut. But she is just awful. Like, there's a scene towards the beginning that Marcia, the character of Marcia, played by oh my god, what the hell is her name? Tracy Griffith. She says to her, "Hey, I think that boy over there, I think Tony, I think he's cute." And she looks at him and she goes, "He's Mexican." Like, horrible, like really, like cold, like what? You're looking at him? He's not. Like, I was like, oof, that's fucking mean. And there's a point later in the film where Rev, who was the number 10 kill or the number 9 kill, the number 9 kill with the rap and the boombox, she tells him at one point, she's like, turn the music off. And he's like, well, rap is a lot better than that country shit. And she calls him a derogatory word that I will not say, cannot say, and no one should say. She calls him a dirty, derogatory word. I'm sure you can assume which word it is. And he throws a cereal at her and she kind of hides away. This is your introduction to her. Horrible person, just an absolute fucking piece of shit. And basically what happens is Angela, hey, you want to play the trust game? So she puts the blindfold on this lady and they walk out and she's got her hand on her back and they're talking to each other. And she's fucking with Angela. She's like, oh, oops. And like, oops, I didn't see that tree there. Sorry. And then Angela, once it's Angela's turn to tie her up and put the blindfold on, she just starts asking her questions. Are you a cheerleader? Yes. Are you a virgin? No. Do you take drugs? Doesn't everybody? And Angela, just without missing a beat, goes, strike 3. And you're like, what the fuck? She takes this woman and ties her to like a flagpole. And she begins to, I don't think Andre the Giant or Brock Lesnar or Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, I don't know who, you would have to be one of the strongest people of all time to pull this death off. But apparently Angela has gains. Ties her to this fucking flagpole and pulls her up all the way to the top of a flagpole. And you're hearing her scream, put me down. Do you know who my daddy is? He'll sue you for everything you've got. You don't know who I am. You know my car. She's all these rich, snotty things at her. And she asks you why are you doing this? And Angela says, because you're a cheerleader, you're a fornicator, a drug taker, a nasty, snotty bigot, and besides, you're real nice. And as she gets to the top, she just releases. She just lets go. And Cindy Hammersmith fucking goes flying down to the earth and lands head first. And again, this is the last time I'll say it on this show, you need to see it uncut. Because the theatrical cut, you don't see anything. You just see, you hear it, you see this, and that's it. Here we see the brain matter, the disgusting brain and gore and all this stuff on the floor as she hits the ground, and the sound it makes is incredible. The effect really looks like they dropped the person from the top of the flagpole. I think it's an incredible looking effect. Like literally on the level of the Cannibal Holocaust impalement. Like it looks like a real body was just dropped on its head. It's incredible. And so incredible, in fact, that when this was submitted to the MPAA, the woman who worked for the MPAA that was rating the movie was rating it, if I'll give it an R, I'll give it a 13, I'll give it an X, whatever, or an NR or NC-17. She got physically sick. And that is the biggest reason why that this movie is so cut down if you watch the theatrical cut of it. So that particular scene was so effective. This woman got physically sick and so offended that she cut this movie's cojones off. And that's why when you watch it in good quality, that a lot of the kills are cut away. Like I know I've heard a lot of people say they don't show the kills in the third one. I'm like, yeah, because this crazy lady at the NBA got so sick watching one of the kills that she just decided to cut this movie's balls off, unfortunately. But really great. I mean, it's fantastic. And again, to a nicer lady, it couldn't have happened. Like what an evil, evil, awful person. And to get her comeuppance there with that just brain matter squashed all over the place like a pumpkin. Amazing. I just love that kill. And to even drive us home even further, another big reason, not just the character being bad and the effect itself uncut is looking amazing. That's all great. That makes it my favorite kill. But what makes it one of my all-time favorite kills, probably my favorite kill ever, is the following scene where they really do their job at developing the lead antagonist in Angela as she goes back to the camp from the second movie. And she walks in after, killing this lady. And I love this scene, how it's done. She walks in and just looks around, and you could see how much she misses this and how hard this is for her, how emotional. It would almost be like the equivalent of Tom Seaver coming back to Shea after all those years, or the equivalent of Jeter getting his retired number at the fucking stadium. It's that type of all the memories, all the moments, all of the great times. They all rush back when you return somewhere that you've left for so long. And she kind of turns and just soaks it all in. And without saying a single word, Pamela Springsteen says a million. And that's why I think this performance is so fantastic. You see her reminiscing about the whole happy camper speech. And I was a camper myself. I was bullied. I was tormented, but you're all such good kids and you love me. You really love me. And she has this whole flashback of being the counselor of the week. And I always thought that was the best thing about this character. Some people want to accomplish the biggest things in the world. Some people want to, throw a game-winning touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. Some people want to run the country. Some people want to be holier than thou. All Pamela Springsteen ever wanted to do, all Angela Baker ever wanted to do, was to be the counselor of the week, was to be this moral person, this moral compass to point these children in the right directions in their lives. And because they were immoral, because they do these things that she does not approve of, if you cuss, if you take drugs, if you smoke, drink, whatever, obviously the angel of death comes to get you. And of course, I just think she was so great in this role. And I love that scene is kind of tied in with this particular kill, because to me, it's the reason that big chunk of the movie is the reason I always liked part 3 the best. I loved that. You not only had a great, fantastic kill to someone who deserved it and in a way that deserved it, you also proved the psychology of your killer here. They never did that with Jason. They never did that with Freddy. You don't really do that, other than maybe the first Elm Street. Don't do that with Freddy very much. Play with the psychology. Here you do. I thought that was just so great. And all she ever wanted to be was a happy camper. And I just thought, this is so beautiful, man. It's really like, I've said this before. It's almost like the Brad Pitt line of Moneyball. How can you not be romantic about the horror genre? When it is this good, when it's something like that, I think it's just so deep. I really like it. I think it's beautiful. I really do. Let's see what you all said. I missed the early part of the show, but I guess the curling iron kill did rank. You would guess wrong. That ranked at the number 7 kill. That was number 7. Let me go back. I think we were here. It would be nice if they released a trilogy box set. 2 and 3 are hard to find a Blu-ray OOP. Yeah, Ryan Snyder said before he dropped $250 for Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 on Blu-ray, which is nuts. Chris Dickey says the MPAA fucked up so many horror films in the 80s. F-13th, A New Blood would have been so much better had we got an uncut version. Sadly, we never will. Yeah, that's the problem, man. The head/brain smash scene for Glenn in The Walking Dead was pretty wild, and it was on TV. I've not seen that, so I'd have to take a look. Yep, MPA sucks. They did. They really did. This movie in particular was a huge victim of it. But let me play something for you guys, and then we'll wrap up for you here, because I don't think there was many people in the house when I played it earlier. So I'm going to play this son of a bitch right now. Hold on. Hold your horses. And then we're going to be wrapping the show in a little bit. So hold on as we have this fun little video for you.
Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the summer sun. I love the trees of forest. I'm always having fun. Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the clear blue sky. And with the grace of God, I'll camp until I die. Yeah.
That was something I played at the beginning. I just wanted to, as like kind of a little bit of a nod for me to this series, because again, and I've noticed this in the chat too. But we've had a great crowd tonight, and I appreciate all of you. I do love the original movie. I do. There's no doubt. But I also like a big nod to these two movies here, and that's why I wanted to put that little thing together. And again, the really fun. That is not Mernsey. That is actually not Mernsey. That is not him. But Mernsey is awesome. That is actually the very talented AJ Bowen. I used the song from him, and he's a very, very nice guy. Covered the Happy Camper song, and then I put together a little bit of a best of the series, a little highlight of people smiling and stuff, and being happy campers. And I think like I said in the beginning, where so many people love Friday the 13th and Elm Street and Halloween and all these like very popular ones, and that's fine. That's all well and good. I like some of those movies too. There's no doubt. I'm a happy camper for life. I'm a Sleepaway Camp guy. I'm an Angela Baker, Angel of Death type of guy. To me, the greatest slasher series of all time. I love it. These first 3 movies to me are the creme de la creme and the Golden Trilogy. I love these 3. I love how different they all are. I love the first one being that old school 80s, Friday the 13th knock type of movies. And then these 2 movies being meta, funny, crazy, over the top. And I don't know. I really love it. The lead character, the performance from Pamela Springsteen to me really makes these 2 of the best slasher movies in my opinion of all time. I love these movies to death. So they're religion to me, with autographs and, trading cards and printing plates and all that stuff. This is one that it's emotional for me. I think the Sleepaway Camp series definitely deserves more love than it gets. So that's a big reason why I wanted to put that little video together and kind of homage this beautiful series. Let's see. I think we were here. Where can I get the uncut versions of 2 and 3 on physical media? Like we said. So 2 is not really a big victim of being cut. This is fine. There's not really much cut here, and you're not going to find uncut version. This movie, you have to get this particular Blu-ray and watch on the features. It's like a work print version where you can get all the kills uncut, no music, but the rest of it looks like a bad VHS print. But man, you get the movie as it was meant to be seen, and it's just it works so well. I really, really I highly recommend. This is $50 to $75 range, I want to guess. I've seen it jump. I've seen it go for like 75, seen it drop to 50. I've never seen it go for more than 90, but I'm sure it does. I don't know now. I really haven't checked in a while. They just did not sell well, unfortunately, when they came out. Good fun. Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that's the beauty of this series. Mernsey rules. He does rule. it was a series. Hopefully someone is a doer and we can get a box set. Absolutely. I know, and I don't know if you know this, but like there's a huge controversy that happened with Kino Lorber owned the rights, and someone said, hey, you own the rights, are you going to release them? And Kino said, we'll never release those shit movies, basically. Not word for word what they said, but basically what they said. So that's a shame. I believe they're in the process or already have sold the rights. The question is to who, and I don't know the answer to that. Now, if they ever release these on 4K, I will, of course, would double dip. I mean, I could not double dip. It's just two of my favorite movies ever. But hopefully we do get that someday. It would be nice. The first film is one of those movies that it sold so well that they literally, I think it's still a Blu-ray you get for $8. Like, it's such a cheap Blu-ray. And I would debate they'll eventually just do a 4K of it. Like, I'd be surprised if they don't. Oh, my bad. I thought you, Mernsey, sang it. Well, then AJ needs a record contract. I thought he did a good job. I thought AJ did a good job. We all know Mernsey deserves a record contract too, though. Thanks, Miss C, Texas Grande. Sell me both those Blu-rays for $50 Canadian, dude. Oh man, this is. I'm pretty sure I have seen this go for over $200. Like this, especially, and I know that people are probably going to ask, does he not have the slips? They're not as valuable if he doesn't have the slips. I do have the slips too. I just took them off because I don't like the artwork as much as I like the original artwork. Call me a fucking hipster. But these are the slipcover of these two movies. So very rare, very expensive. Probably aside from the Romero out of print Dawn of the Dead Blu-ray that I have, the most expensive Blu-rays I have in my collection. But awesome movies to me that really do deserve light. If you haven't seen them and you don't want to spend a lot of crazy money, you can see them on Tubi. They are on Tubi. I believe they're on Prime. They're very accessible. You shouldn't have too terrible of a time finding them. Finding that uncut version, though, forget it. I don't think you're going to find that unless you get the Blu-ray. I need to upgrade my DVDs to Blu-ray for Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3. Well, Ginger just reviewed them all, so that's really cool. But next week, everybody, we're going to be doing a John Carpenter special, the very first John Carpenter special I've ever done on this show. I'm very excited for that. I've never done a John Carpenter show, which is crazy. I've reviewed some of his movies, but I've never done like a show dedicated to John Carpenter. So next week, we'll be reviewing Prince of Darkness, They Live, and I believe right now, Assault on Precinct 13 is winning the poll. If you want, you can still vote. That voting will stay open until Sunday night. I thought that the Carpenter show was 2 weeks from now, but it's next week. And then the Godzilla special with Andrew Polillo, which I'm looking very much forward to that. Everybody, if you are catching the replay of this, comment down below. Let me know some of your favorite Sleepaway Camp series kills. This was a lot of fun for me. And this is something that I've never done on Grande's Graveyard as a top 10 kill list. So if this is something you'd want to see me do, like for the Friday the 13th movies or any other slasher series, the top 10 kills or whatever, totally let me know. I'd be open for it because this was a lot of fun. But everybody, thank you so much. And I guess there's only real one way to play this out. And that's with the Happy Camper song. So without further ado, everybody, thank you so much. I'll end this with a little bit of a reel. And it's Too Sweet Peace. And we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. And we're happy campers for life, ladies and gents. Good night, everybody.
Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the summer sun. I love the trees of forest. I'm always having fun. Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the clear blue sky. And with the grace of God, I'll camp until I die.